Love is live. Okay. Love, truth, peace, purity, and justice for all. We open this divine meeting in the name of the divine creator, Al-Sufian. Mm-hmm. It's called perfect timing. Mm-hmm. Have we learned about time? Have we learned about time? Now we know there's many concepts from different cultures of perspectives, but do you know your Moorish perspective of time? See, you as your own, you have your own perspective, separate from how the world may view it as a collective. You may have it where you see things a certain way, but the collective don't see them as the certain way. People have shrouded themselves in oaths.
Man. Say that again, and loud and clear.
To keep us buried. And every keeper of a secret knows the most important kept secret.
Keep the light shining on that.
Is the identity of the so-called black man, black woman, and black child of North America.
Do they know the secret behind Thanksgiving? Since you talking about secrets, everybody can acknowledge that just happened with all the families. We talking about truth now.
Oh, truth. No two truths contradict in the Moorish perspective. So was man made for Thanksgiving, or was Thanksgiving made for man?
Beautiful.
Because according to how you view is according to how you see. So if you never heard of the Moorish perspective, then that means you don't have the view or the outlook. So when we're talking about a Moorish perspective, this is a certain cultural view. And this cultural view predates all religions. Later date religions plagiarize and copy from a higher culture, and then denigrate it through despotism, our knowledge of ourselves. Isn't it curious that you don't know much about yourself? It's very curious that you have not been taught much of what is called knowledge of self. And so we have to understand the reason why is because people made secrets to keep this away. So people who hold secrets can't tell. But those who are of the original man can always speak. And so that's what we want to understand. Who was the original man? Who is the original man? And whoever will be the original man. We notice we use the word man. So this is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Have we been taught who is the original man?
No, we haven't. There you go.
That's very curious.
It's a good, beautiful question.
Because that will lead you to the teachings of knowledge of self. Because you a man. Don't matter if you male or female. So every man came into being.
That's correct.
So coming into being, remember you came from somewhere. And that somewhere is that descent line. And from that descent line, you slid down into man of the same descent nature. To find the original man, where could we look to find the original man? Before we just jump off into it, let's just ask some theoretical questions to get us started. Where could we look to find the original man?
That's a good question.
Because he haven't been in the books.
I heard that. The book came later. I can truly say this to that question. That wherever there's land, there's man. The spirit man. I raised thee. Song birthday, Juma, on one happy camp.
Oh, yes, indeed. I'm telling you, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I tell you, wisdom makes me happy. Knowing exactly what I'm saying makes me happy.
Don't it? Make you feel good, too.
Oh, yes, when you know what you know. And you know what you know, and you know what you know.
It makes you feel so good.
Shout out to the spiritual sister.
And I say to all that are sick and ain't feeling well, that's all because.
There's healing on the way. That lets you know.
Yes, indeed.
At least if you know you're feeling sick, at least you know what health is.
Yes, indeed.
And that's a good sign. Yes, that's a good sign right there. And there is methods to cure.
Yes.
There are methods to cure. And they in what we would call our Moorish perspective.
There you go.
So as we work our way to the original man, this is how we view things in the Moorish perspective from the original way. We call the original the first. So that gives us a key of Blue's Clues to where maybe we should look. If we want to find the original man, we should look for the first man.
Right on.
There's all types of man around.
Yes, indeed.
We call it humanity.
Yes, indeed.
So out of all humanity, because we know about third place, second place, and no place at all.
Yes, indeed.
In America, the black man, the black woman, and their innocent black child, they know
That's right.
what the bottom is.
Children of Israel.
They know what having no place in someone else's society means.
Yes, indeed.
They know about being abused, misused,
Yes, indeed.
and undermined.
Yes, indeed.
So in all of humanity, no one has taught who is the original man. Until we get into the Moorish perspective. When we get into the Moorish perspective, now we have those questions, answers, and we have the theology behind it. Now that's a beautiful thing to know.
That's right.
That's a beautiful thing to know.
That's right.
So out of all humanity, who was the first man? So let's just start using some common ground. We can use realities as such as we call it day and night. Can we observe there is a feature called day and a feature called night? Now, if we ask ourselves the question, which came first? Did day come first or did night come first? Because they don't appear at the same time.
Beautiful.
So if we can maybe find out which one is first, this will give us a picture. Now we can see it with our mind of what came first. So we have to peer through some scriptures. Where we can say, where we can get some clarity of what came first. So when we want to understand what came first, was it day or was it night? What does scripture say? We're supposed to get inspiration. Scriptures are divinely inspired. So we're not better to start than going to something inspired by divine.
Right on.
So in some of the records of the prophets, from the prophet of Musa, in our Moorish perspective, Musa has some books that we can look into. And we know these as the first 5 books. So we can head into Genesis just to remind ourselves what came first. Because we do and can remember that let there be light came later. That was not the first words uttered. In the beginning. So before, this is why we want to know what came first, because we know first is the beginning.
That's right.
So in the beginning will indicate the first. So if we want to find the beginning, which is the origin of anything, creature, living form, then we must go to the first. So in our question and our quest, which came first, day or night? And so just by memory, without revisiting the text, as we do revisit the text, we remember, let there be light.
Mm-hmm.
And that came later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to pull up the 4th chapter. Genesis 1:1 from Musa says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. That was the first 2 verses out of Genesis.
Look at that.
Chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
Did we hear anything? The word darkness came before we come to light. In the first 2 verses, did we hear the word light? Let's go back again. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Did we hear the word light? Or did we hear the word darkness? Darkness came first, according to the text. If we ask which came first, day or night, darkness will indicate night. So night was over the surface of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over. Did we catch that? Darkness was over the surface of the deep.
Yep.
The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. We got 3 things going on here.
Yeah. So
I hope we see it.
I hope so too.
Then our next verse of the 3rd verse gonna tell us, and God said, the famous line we know, let there be light.
Lord.
So now light now enters in the 3rd verse, where darkness was in the beginning.
Look at that.
So now darkness coincides with our reality as night. And in nighttime, this is where we can see that things are, you would say, the surface of the deep. Especially now in the time frame they don't move the time in Christian time, where pitch black dark coming at 6. Now you can see the surface of the deep. Now it says the Spirit of God was hovering over, meaning not in the darkness. The darkness was part of the deep. You have something above that, which is considered the waters. And this was considered where Spirit of God was, that seen no light, but was the light, hovering over the waters. See, and this is indicating a story here of how we find the original man. The original man will have to match the contents of darkness, according to Musa. And Musa was a divine prophet, and no prophets lie. And Musa the prophet said darkness was over the surface. Darkness indicates a correspondence. So the nature of the first is considered to be the nature of darkness. We take night as the example. So some people that has to be dark as night, you might even hear the phrase black as night. This is the understanding that was hidden and kept as the marvelous light. This is the marvelous light that was kept hidden by those who kept secrets. So the light that you wouldn't think about would be the light that comes in verse 3. After the God of darkness was hovering above the waters, said, let there be light. And there was light. So now we take that, we can see that in our life, in existence, with daytime. Was the sun first? Because the sun will consider daytime.
That's right. So think about it.
Because there is no night if the sun is up. So this let there be light. This is indicating to us something here. See, and the light is what was called day. And the darkness was called night. So we talking about in the beginning. This is the beginning of what? The original man. Before there was life called humanity, there was the first. From the first, all comes. There's no way around it. You can't outdo the first.
You can't do it. Right.
The first is the first. From the first comes all. So now we got to ask ourselves, is this corresponding to what the people who today are called black? This is why the people today that are considered themselves dark or of the black race are suffering at large? Because this understanding has been misdirected, and now you might even see black people turning lighter, or we should say whiter. When we want to understand the origin of man,
have y'all seen Serena?
please enlighten us.
No.
She looks like a white woman.
So this match what you just saying. She went from night to white.
Look at that. What you say?
Like the white chicks.
See, and this is why I'm glad. If we just heard what we just heard, then this is why knowledge of self was the hidden secret. Because if you didn't have this knowledge of self, now you have a possibility to not like yourself.
That's what's going on there.
And as we just heard that poor story, someone not liking themselves to
Mhm.
change, if you would say, how God made you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that not?
Yeah.
That's something to think about for
Yeah. Yeah.
a person who have committed such acts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, and this is why all this is happening,
Mm-hmm.
because all of humanity
Mm-hmm.
comes after the first.
Mm-hmm.
And if humanity pisses on the first, they piss on all.
There you go.
So now we talking things gonna suffer
Mm-hmm.
because the first made everything with love.
Mm-hmm.
And so now hate never existed.
Mm-hmm.
This was created by humanity,
Mm-hmm.
not understanding the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what worldwide we are ignorant of.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
The beginning.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
We need to understand in the beginning, and to understand in the beginning, you can understand that by understanding the origin of man.
Mm-hmm.
Every humanitarian or every person in humanity has a shade of color.
Mm-hmm. How about that? How about that? Can't escape that.
The whole universe is visible with colors.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are talking about colors that you do not see, we see rainbows and colors from the rainbow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And see, these come from something that pre-existed.
That's right.
The colors.
Mm-hmm.
This is what referred to in the text as light.
Mm-hmm.
Light is what created the colors.
Mm-hmm.
But if we notice, it's certain colors from the rainbow that we don't see.
Mm-hmm. How about that?
And that's white and black.
Oh.
And it's funny, in between white and black, you got all colors.
Yeah.
And in between white and black is the number 7. Add the 2, white and black, you got 9. What is the rate of birth for a man to come to be birthed? Number 9. You go through the light, and your nature matches the light you came from. And we don't look like a color on the rainbow, so we come prior. That means we older than the rainbow.
Beautiful.
The color that matches us is not the color of the sun. The color of the sun is not black. It's only one thing in this cosmic space that's black. Don't nothing else resemble black in this cosmic space except nighttime. Nighttime is where you see the color black. Other than that, that's what when you see a black car, a black shoe, a black computer, it's copying nature.
Right on.
There's a real black in nature, and that's called night. And night is not down below. When we see night, night is above. So there's waters above and waters below. One set of waters represent night. Another set of waters represents day, light. Now, when we understand the spectrum of colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. This is what you see before it becomes night. Violet goes right into night and gets swallowed up by night. So when we understand what the Spirit of God that is in the waters, that is hovering above, this is where we have to understand. We called it in ancient tongues Mayat. This was called divine order. So now when we saying what came first, black or white, is in your text. The divine order or Mayat is darkness comes first. Now we take it back into reality to correspond to logic. When we talking about waters above and waters below, down here, the concepts are in reverse. We see nighttime as below and daytime as above. And that's just through how we've been trained to look at the world. But through close examination of your own life and you experiencing self in life, you can be the observer of these things. So when we are speaking about what you see in nature is corresponding to how the whole universe came to be. And man is the determining factor of where he came from the spectrum of the universe. So why do people have color? So you see from dark all the way to bright. In colors, they call it shade to bright. And this comes from the atmosphere of the waters of night and the waters of light. And this waters of light is known as the waters of the male. And the waters of night is known as the waters of the female. So this whole nature corresponds the logic of the nature of the first, who is the divine creator. So when we understand how do children get here, it's from male and female combining. So again, we have light and night in existence combining to create life. But these things are separate as individuals, as a woman is separate from a man and a male separate from a female, but they come together as one called a child. This is the understanding of the first. The first is all of that in totality. This is why all comes from the first. So with the male having to plant inside of the woman, so in the same way in nature, the farmer has to plant his seed into nature, the woman. And the farmer don't plant it on the top of the soil. The farmer has to go in. Yes, he has to go in her or in nature.
Beautiful.
And that's considered, the soil is considered the darkness. And in the darkness is where the seed germinates. not in the light. See, that's a different type of water. So in order for us to prosper, we have to understand the orders and the divine orders of life. And so if there's a first, then there's a first everything.
Yes, indeed.
So all of us is from the first. The first son, the second first son, the third first son, the fourth first son. Everything is unique as the first.
How could you deny that beautiful pattern?
It's a beautiful pattern. And this the Moorish perspective. This is what they kept hidden and created what we call business from it. And this is Moorish consciousness. And the word Moor means the word dark. This is why the Roman came up the word black or Moor.
Okay.
These people, the ancient people, Moraba is the ancient dark people that was the first people of all humanity. So when you get the story of Abraham being the father of many nations, this is the story of Morab, the Moorish. Abraham was Morab, which is Moorish descent. And he was the great Moor, or the great man that was raised by Sufian Allah to bless us all with the Al-Sufian. And if you have darkness, then you are a descendant of Morab. And this was before a Jew came. This was before a Christian was born. And this was before a Muslim was thought of. Look at
it. Beautiful. Come on with it, true.
All of those terms come from the Moraba, the Moorish. And this is the original, this is the first, where all came from, including civilization. So when we saying about Abraham being of Moorish descent, is the father of many nations. So when you have dark and everything from dark growing up to light, this is called the father of many nations. Nations means humanity. Abraham, Moraba, the Moorish, is the father of all humanity. The Moorish woman, the Moorish man are the fathers of all humanity. And it's proven inside of their own genetic nature and makeup.
Right there.
It's right there. Out of the darkness, if the scripture is true, out of the darkness comes the light. Or in other words, in modern day terms, out of the black comes the white. And in modern terms, out of the black man comes the white man. Out of the black woman comes the white woman. Now, this is how we have to understand how this happens. This is why we have to go in the beginning. To find the beginning, we got to go to the beginning of man, because in the beginning of man, this is where we find time at. when we are talking about the theology of time, we are talking about man coming into existence from the woman. The woman is time. Born. She give life form. Just like nature give the seed form.
Yeah.
When you go and plant it in the soil gives it form, just like the uterus give the seed form.
Beautiful.
So this light that is considered light is no other than the masculine semen. If we understand the masculine semen is whitish, grayish, whitish grayish.
That's right.
That whitish grayish is what is getting planted in the dark womb as the nature soil.
Come on with it.
So the white man is a grafted version of masculine Moorish sperm, or the black man's sperm, and from the black woman's egg. So this is where we have the understanding about the black man has two germs in him. So when you are hearing about the black man has two germs in him, that is called what the Moorish perspective is called the two cells. Inside of the Moorish is two germs, the black germ and the brown germ. And from this is where we have to understand the theology of time. This is where the woman is the theology of time. And we have to understand when we come into this life, we are coming to this life through a natural process. And this process is completed by the natural woman, not the grafted woman. So when we are speaking about how did dark make light, it's the same way that the sun came after night. Just like we made the sun, we made the white man. This is what has to be understood. Your sperm is so powerful that it contains two cells in it. And that through genetic splicing or cloning, that you can keep shutting off the germ cell, the black germ cell, and it can become brown. And you can keep stripping that power and weakening it where the brown becomes another color. So this is where we have the Moorish perspective of the Moorish star. The Moorish star that you know of as love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is a reality showing you how we created all humanity from the 5 points of the star. So all shades of humanity do not correspond to the rainbow. You don't see a blue person. You don't see an orange person.
No.
So humanity comes from man and woman. Yep. So they have to come from a descendant nature. So within the nature of the black man is the nature of two cells, the black germ and the brown germ. And when you weaken the black, you get the brown. And when you weaken the brown, you get the red. When you weaken the red, you get the yellow. When you weaken the yellow, you get the white. All humanity fit this prescription of colors. From the shades of the rainbow, and then you got the shades from blackness into brightness. So inside of the black man, you have the lightest of the light. If you knew a very light person in your life, that they were still black, but they had a very light skin.
Yeah.
This is the equivalence of what I'm saying of how you made the white man.
Yeah.
Ain't no white man gonna make a black man. But you see your own genetics can make a very light skin to the point where we would say light skin.
Mm-hmm.
And to us, that was the white man back then.
Look at that.
So now we have that in society now.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened long time ago,
Yes, indeed.
thousands of years ago.
Yes, indeed.
So before that happened thousands of years ago, this is where we was on the planet
Mm-hmm.
for billions and trillions of years before we decided to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just thought about some things when we see because we're talking about origin here.
mm-hmm.
And so when we leave, it's just like different shape. Just say for instance, just like if a black woman sleep with a white man, and if you notice, it's the shade or the tone of the child, you will see a difference.
That's the point. Yes. You will notice it don't come out pale.
It don't come out original.
Right. Or pale.
That's right.
It don't come out originally black or originally pale.
That's correct.
It has a tint to it.
In between, just like you were talking about splicing.
Right. See,
And that's what we're doing there.
Right. So now when you saying humanity, put that on humanity.
Yeah.
When you seeing the shades of black people,
Yeah.
we got 5 shades: black, brown, red, yellow, and white.
Mm-hmm.
This has nothing to do with the pale skin.
That's right.
This just within us. Now when we put the pale skin into the situation,
Yeah.
now this is how they was created.
Right.
So now when you see the pale skin, then you see yourself, then you see the people who in between y'all.
Yeah.
Mexicans.
Yeah.
Hindu.
That's right. And you can see it all between. Yeah.
These people are in between
Uh-huh.
the black and the white.
That's right.
And they was made from us.
Mm-hmm.
So before the white man came, before the pale man came on the scene, we already had our white man.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we made the Hindu people.
That's right.
So this is where you get 50,000 years. This is why the Hindus left what they call India. Mm-hmm. And they came to America. Mm-hmm. And this is why you'll see them more look like us,
yeah,
than on the pale side.
That's right. They do. They look more like us. They got that tint.
Yes, we made them before we made the white man. So this is why all these people that we made, remember, we ruled billions of years before we made these people.
Yeah.
So after we made these people, each of these people had their time to rule.
Yeah.
So now we at the end of the time where the pale man is ruling. Mm-hmm. And it's the last of the time.
Yeah. And
then it's returning now back to the original, to the first.
Right on.
So all this knowledge was not known. Mm-hmm. Now all this knowledge is known due to the first man coming on the scene. Mm-hmm. Now we should have a real technical analysis that is a system of logic. Yeah. That the original man, mm-hmm, is the so-called black man, mm-hmm, and black woman. Mm-hmm.
And I'd just like to reflect on that. You said that which is high is also below. If we look at the universe, even below, the sun gives light, but even way above this in space is dark, black. I won't say the word black, I just say darkness. And down below in the sea, it's like I mean, just it's dark there, it's dark there, dark there, and dark up top.
Come on with it.
High and below.
It's the proof.
And everything is in between. The light and all colors.
All colors.
I just want to share that.
And that's the beautiful. And that's what they mean by the first that were made last, that the last shall be made first. Everything is in between darkness. Even the sun.
That's right.
The sun represents whiteness.
That's right.
And it's in between
That's
darkness.
right.
And that's what we are mentioning. See, this is the God that's above, hovering above.
Mm-hmm.
The sun, the waters
Yes,
and above.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
This is where we return and we have our right concept
right.
at depth.
That's right.
You travel through these things.
There you go.
Remember, you made yourself as Morabbas or the Moorish. We are self-created.
Mm-hmm.
We made other humans.
Yeah. Right on.
We made humanity, but no humanity or no other human can make us.
That's right. So I guess when we hear the scripture in the Bible where it was saying that God was talking to Jesus, where they claimed it was his son, saying, prepare me a body where I can go down, like coming into existence, so you can go down and sup with man. And they use that in the form of a scripture. Words wrote in the scripture, using those allegories.
Mm-hmm. They stole all our Moorish consciousness, not all of it, but they twisted our Moorish consciousness and made what they made out of it.
Yeah.
But the Quran and the Bible was never originally written by them. We just talking about the importance words that they took and translated.
That's what we talking about. Right on.
But they ain't wrote a divine scripture because they not divine in nature. Because to be divine, you gotta have the dark.
Qualification, that's right.
See, the D represents dark. But see, the D represents the divine. The divine is the true darkness. And this is what they made the D letter called the devil.
Look at that.
They made the divine D evil.
Look at that.
To put the kryptonite on the Moorish consciousness.
Yeah.
Remember, it was they had their time to rule just like all the humanity had their time to rule. And so now, with everyone had their time to rule, playtime is over. Time to put up your toys.
That's right.
Time to clean up. Like we tell the children, what we tell our children, clean up.
That's right.
Time to clean up.
That's right.
Time to take a shower.
That's
Time to get clean and get ready for bed.
That's right. That's right. And you would think they ought to have enough of dropping bombs and shooting guns and killing humanity. They ought to have enough of it by now. But you still see, for over 30, 40 years, this ugly act and ugly evil on the land, because this don't supposed to be. I think you said something about love, peace, freedom, justice. That ain't that what we see there. In the leadership, they don't offer that love, freedom, peace, justice.
Because this is the secret they keeping hidden. For them to keep their time on the clock instead of clocking off the time, so they can keep more time or hours on the clock. This is what they keeping hidden. So they can go overtime in their rulership. You know, they selfish and super greedy. So they trying to get overtime. And so these truths got to come super greater now. All they do is make the knowledge more superior. So it's going to be no escaping this. They done tried to rewrite the greatest works, and it didn't work. They tried to twist our Moorish consciousness and it didn't work.
Mm.
They thought they can trick Allah.
Mm.
And they find out that once again, it didn't work.
Mm.
No matter where they go, what they try, who they call upon.
Yeah.
If it's not Allah and Allah alone,
Thank you.
then you're not following the way the universe is set up.
That's right.
The universe is set up for us, not for them.
Man.
Let me make something clear for all of us as the original man.
Mm-hmm.
When I say the original man,
Mm-hmm.
this is the Maraba,
Mm-hmm.
who our holy prophet returned, that we say Allah in person,
Mm-hmm.
came and gave us the Moorish of who Allah is. And this is how we get now our divine way.
Mm.
Everything that was hidden, they locked us into a secret hidden science called astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from this secret science of astrology, this is how your lodges is built. This is how your orders are set up. This is how your degrees is set up. This is how your calendar works. This is why you got Monday through Sunday. This is why you got 24 hours. All this comes from our science that was a Moorish consciousness that they divided to control and rule Moorish consciousness. So now with astrology, this is how they make their medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So now, in order for you not, this is how they trying to put a curve into your straight path.
Mm-hmm.
Now they making astrological medicine.
Mm.
So now you can go there when you die instead of going home. You know how you make detours instead of going home? Something stop you along the way, or I need to stop by there.
Detour pills.
That's a detour pill. So these things you can't say, they go to a constellation. They using a astrological science to create doom. But ultimately, all doom is going to return to its maker. So this is why we have our new Islam of America that represents everything that is being said. The Sufian Islam. As-salam, salam. This is what is ours that is older than millions years of old, older than billion years of old.
Yeah.
This is 144 trillion years old.
Yeah.
We have the time of the beginning. And in the beginning of time is the beginning of Allah. Say that one more again. The beginning of time is the beginning of Allah. Now you're going to need some brains to understand this, because even Allah had to grow brains to understand himself and to make and calculate his own time that we exist in, called the universe. We in a time traveling being universe. You can be here, there.
Beautiful.
But we have to understand how to, we call it the dark waters, how to travel through the waters. That's why we call it mooring. How to travel through eternity. We in an eternal being.
Yes, indeed.
So all we have to do is know how Moorish consciousness works, because the being is consciousness. So all we have to do is understand how everything originated, came from its beginning, and now the first is Allah. And can't nothing come from nothing else but Allah.
Beautiful.
And now this is what the Moorish came from. The Moorish come from the first. So we gonna always be here, because the first is always gonna be here.
Right on.
The universe ain't going nowhere. It's eternal.
That's right.
You in a plane, not the whole universe.
That's
you
right.
in a plane.
That's right.
So now what we talking about, when we say the original man came before the sun, that sun that's called day, the light, the original man come before the sun.
That's long time ago.
Yes, the Moorish come before the sun. The Moorish come before the moon. The Moorish come before the stars. The Moorish comes before the universe. We existed with Allah, in Allah, as his children. So we always existed as long as Allah existed. When we become a thought of Allah, that is us.
That's beautiful.
Now we here.
All day long, right on.
That's called a thought of Allah.
Right on. Right on.
And this is only in our Moorish perspective.
There you go, brother. Right on.
The original woman is God and the original man is Allah. And this is called Al-Sufian. Al-Sufiya. Our woman in our language is called Sufia. Our man in our language is called Allah. We are the children of Allah Sufia. We are called the Sufian. The children of Allah. The sons of Allah. The Sufians of Allah. We came out of mom. That's how we get here, through nature, through our Father.
That's right.
But understand, Allah existed 144 trillion years prior to this moment. So just as you walk this earth, he walked this earth. Just as you see the sun, he's seen the sun.
Beautiful.
This is the gift that we have called a day. We get to see what our Father created every time we come into life. Because we don't die. We multiply. Black don't crack. All these are sayings of Moorish consciousness. And once we link ourselves back through Moorish perspective, all shall be restored back to you, just as Allah has given everything to you. The Moorish star was to retrieve all of your answers. That was Islam, all codified it as man became Allah. Man and Allah are one. So the shape of our being is a star. This is what we did when we said, let us make them. We gave them a kind of a star. That's why we call them mankind. But they're not the everlasting stars.
That's right.
They the stars that burn out. So when we are talking about our natural divinity does not die. We was before the sun, the moon, the stars, and the whole universe. That means, black man and black woman, your sperm and your eggs is older than the sun, the moon, the stars, and the universe. This is why you can create this again by creating children. Your sperm is so powerful, it can go in the egg, and her egg is so powerful that both of these is Allah. Allah is indeed masculine and yet feminine. These two come together and we stay for eternity.
So I just want to say that when you birth, who who would create pills and want to give women pills for abortion? That's against nature. And yet, we have governments and states and federals that operate against nature. And, you know, it's a sad situation now. Somebody want to take 500 years of their history and program and put us in there and act as though that's where the original man started at. So I'm glad you know pointed out all the details of this day. And I thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. This is what they've been keeping hidden from us. Who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because who man.
That's right.
And with that comes everything, including the sun, the moon, and the stars. They belong to us and everything beneath it.
Mm-hmm.
So every soul belong to us.
Mm-hmm.
Every money they got from a deal they made with every nation belongs to us.
Thank you. Right on.
Everything printed from that printing press belongs to us. So they are in debt over $144 trillion over in debt to us.
To us.
Once, as we awaken to our Moorish Sufian consciousness, which is all what I just said. This is our heritage, vast estate.
That's right. Don't take that little lie of $3,000 they want to offer when you get trillions.
Right.
They know it.
Yeah.
They take 1 trillion and pay everybody off down here.
Yeah.
You one happy camper.
Yeah.
But you just said it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The order is to give each descendant of Moore's descendant $1 billion every day in their account. And when they run out of that, give them $1 trillion.
Look at that. Oh, they keep on living shit till that time comes.
This is the order from the divine. Now, are they gonna follow the orders? Have they followed the orders?
Pretty hard-headed, so.
They're pretty hard-headed.
Pretty hard-headed. They've been doing the opposite that I know of for 73 years straight. So you do the math.
Yeah.
You hope and wish on a star and all in your what do you call it?
Won.
You won all day long.
Mm-hmm.
But let's come down to reality.
Right.
I'm giving you the fight.
The proof
of the map.
Mm-hmm. Map.
Now bear witness.
That's all we do. Bear witness.
I get the floor.
That the law is divine. We already finna prove him 20 times over in the shortness of. The white man can't teach what was just taught in 2 hours.
No.
And we ain't even reached the 2-hour mark. Now, this is what your high degree, let's just say your 33rd degree and a third know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they, not the 33rd degree, but the 33rd and the third. See, they get this knowledge of where they come from, that they come from the black man. This is why they honor him.
That's right.
In parade.
That's right.
But they just still denigrate it by calling it blackface or a black parade. Yeah. But the high masters know what they doing in their secret lodges.
Sure do. Especially
mm-hmm. And that's what the 33rd and the third is.
That's right.
It's a shrine.
That's right.
A master mason is a 33rd degree.
That's right.
And a master mason can never be Moorish.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
See, Moorish predates.
Oh.
It predates all religions,
and
all colors.
All those degrees. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anything that is not Moorish is a copy of something Moorish. Come to knowledge. This is why we have to understand that the moral consciousness includes five logics. That was the black, the brown, the red, the yellow, and the white. Mm-hmm. They call conscious, intra-conscious, subconscious, superconscious, ultra-conscious. Yeah. Ultra-conscious is divine. Yeah. It's the divine dark. That's the right. Darkness. That's right. Consciousness is the sun. Yeah. That's why it's base consciousness, meaning it's very simple. Mm-hmm. So simple as white. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It don't got much to it. That's right. But it's hydrogen and helium. This is what makes it simple. That's what I heard. The two elements. That's right. And those it's considered noble gas. That's right. One complement the other. That's so right. The sun is practicing Islam is the Sharifian or the Sufian. Mm-hmm. So nobility, everything is following. That's why the sun ain't never brought order yet. And you don't see but one source that's order, and that's humanity. Everything else obey. The trees, the birds, the bees, the flowers. The disturbance of all. And he's supposed to be the front runner. That's right. So they'll show you until we put furs. They'll show you they twisting the whole lie. So it's going to stay getting worse for them. Yeah. Two furs. Mm. So that is why that they don't want the man to be in the house with the woman, so then they keep the man out to destroy the family. That's what's called the deportation of the moon. See. And they got what they call defects. Department, all these. Everything starts with D, and I thought about the scripture. And I kept wondering, and I said, we'll never get ahead with this system because it said, I like to quote this scripture. It said, Jesus talking to the devils, telling them to depart from me, I know you now. Depart. Keep thinking about that. Depart. And somebody was so clever and came up with many. And he put a MENT on it. So now he got he can lock you under and called Department of Justice, Department of Home and Housing, Department of an Interior, Department of Treasury. It just, the list goes on, all these departments. And it says, depart from me. I know you're not. You ain't gonna never get no help from no department. I go. Yeah. And see, all those are just Moorish metaphors. What they want to do to the Moorish. Mm-hmm. I mean, none of that exists because it's not Moorish. That's right. Only thing that do exist is the Moorish. The Moorish can make all this exist again. But this time I don't think we're gonna make another white man because look what he has done. No, so do that, he ruined this time. He's gonna stay inside. Don't you do right. See, so he could have made it well. He could have came back again, but now he destroyed his own. Yeah. So we definitely don't want this happening again. No. And so that's why we have to understand where all this come from in the origin. Even the white man come out of the black man's sperm, where the pale man comes and the white or the pale egg come out the black woman's egg. Mm-hmm. Now, black is just used today, so you know who I'm talking about. But our ancient tongue for black was Maraba.
Yeah.
Today we call it Moorish.
Mm-hmm.
This was orders given to us by our holy prophets that come in the person.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand how everything came into be so we can understand who we are. So ain't nothing before you, your wife, and your children.
Beautiful.
Y'all come before anything on earth.
That's right.
Before anything in heaven.
Boy,
They don't want us to unite with. This is. And so all this came about. For us, for the Moorish, sex was a discipline that we trillion years ago took very sacred beings. So they have took sex now and made it something derogatory, and promiscuous. And so now it looked promiscuous, instead of something sacred. And now everybody misusing all their fluids.
Beautiful.
And so all this was our life force. And we used to use it wisely. And so make anything with our consciousness, semen, with our consciousness, the woman can make menses. These two things are one and the same. It's at different height, different above and below.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So this is why you have to understand humanity, because if you gotta understand humanity. If you want to go home, then you gotta understand the Creator. If you're gonna incarnate, you're gonna. So prevalent if you wanted to, how you wanted to live. This is why I say you live life in this life, your afterlife should be the best life. The life you live in was an afterlife. This life. You don't live one. You live but many times before you living now in this present moment. This was an afterlife told to you that was in your previous life. It's just the same thing until we get back home.
Yeah.
You raising in your consciousness levels. Dark waters of eternity. The people who don't go to the dark water, they go to the abyss. That's called the grave. This is why the grave is your first step to know if you either gonna cross the waters or you dead and you done. Now with the pale people,
thank goodness for that.
Now with Moorish people, you ain't done if you die. Have the opportunity up to different levels of consciousness, back to the supreme or to consciousness of knowing thyself. So knowledge is to returning home in the immortal heavens, where you see your God face to face, where you and Allah kick it. Just like you in different people.
Right on.
It's the same way, but once our Moorish consciousness realign itself, see, this is how everything was to us. We the original man, so when we honor each other, we honor Allah.
Thank you.
This is what we trying to.
There you go. The oneness.
The oneness. That's where all came from.
Man.
All are. It don't get no richer than that. So this is what all the Moorish masters, Asiatic brethren, came to expose us volume of New Islam that will be coming to give the final name. And this is what we all have now. Sufian Islamism, K.O.S. This is the final everything that we needed from one that came in the flesh. Now everyone should be able to take it and do greater.
That's what Jesus was talking about.
All this consciousness, and if you can't do greater works, then we ain't getting who we are. Now this ain't something that's taught, so this is something only your own can teach you. So we have to listen to each other, respect one another, and understand that we all got wisdom to share with one another. Because we all are one.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I would just like to reiterate that in the greater work you're talking about, we ain't talking about going on working for a company for a year. When we talking about greater work, we ain't talking about running up and down the football field for 15 or 20 years and die and go to the grave. Ain't done never run the ball. When we talking about greater, we talking about the spiritual work that's gonna get you beyond this life, just like what you were saying earlier. I get it.
So, old black man.
Yes, sir. That's all he wanted to do. Get him a job. And go work for him. Sign the contract.
That's right.
Sign the agreement.
Yes, on another man's time. That old black man and black woman on another man's time. We ain't talking about that.
See, many could say today that they're their own time. See, we can't all three of us.
That's it. Yeah,
we do what we want to do, and it's going to be that way till we take our last breath.
Sufian the law.
Nobody telling us what to do.
Muhammad the law, yes, sir.
Not as long as I'm around.
That's why we got a more saying, time never was when man was not.
Right on.
See, the finite mind, which is humans or humanity, they can't comprehend our infinity. Finite, because they not us.
That's right.
And we keep showing you how we still hear time and time and time again that you can't get rid of us. That, like they said, or Bobby Hemmings said, niggas, you can't get rid of.
Can't get rid of something, and you see that
See, that's how they code us, and they talking about us, but they put little code because the roach is brown. You see what I'm saying? Black, you don't see a black roach. See, just check life out. See, they know these things. See, because the brown is the super conscious. The brown always around.
That's right.
It's like black don't crack. So when we talking about knowing what's inside of us, the black and the brown, this is very key. This is what we call the higher self and the lower self. Before a universe was created, we're talking about a consciousness. So all these things is something that in the beginning, no one knew but Allah. What we talking about, no one knew but Allah. He was the beginning. So when we're talking about the thoughts of Allah, they cannot be circumscribed. You can't make them second. You can't make them third. So no humanity, all they can do for us is the exact what they doing for us now. But we just lost our consciousness. They supposed to be serving, just like they serving us through business. But we just ain't really cognitive of. We used to do all of that. That was millions of years ago. That we used to be the ones doing all that.
We were with no white collar back then.
Right, it was none of that. No merchants, none of that. Selling you goods. It was none of that. We
were the builders.
Right. That's why I say we knocked off. We said we finna go to sleep. We finna knock off, clock out, set up these other humanity to hold it down till we decide to wake back up. You know how we work hard. We want to take a good nap.
Yeah.
Like for the weekend, you want to rest all up, like a truck driver.
Yeah.
You want to get your rest up. So it's like us. We gave consciousness to not destroy the planet before we get here, before we come back awakened, and the planet ain't destroyed. So it's time that we understand what is the spirit, what is the soul, what is the mind. Because these things predated the flesh, but the flesh is a combination of your mind, soul, and spirit.
That's right. That's right.
So this is why your flesh is greater. This is why I was saying earlier about we got to remember we come before the sun, the moon, and the stars, meaning the black man and the black woman's flesh is greater than the moon, is greater than the stars. Ain't no material object in the black man and the black woman's flesh. Y'all, your skin is the greatest that you got.
That's right.
It's what it's the largest of all the organs. It's nothing but a large organ, meaning a tool.
Yeah.
So all we use is an instrument to get done.
Harmony, all within and in harmony. It's just so beautiful.
It soak up the moon. It can get buried in the ground. It won't rot. It turns into health, resources, natural. Everything is good. All is good. Now you see why they needed us in the conundrum. Because if we always thought with our Moorish perspective, they didn't have no time to rule. 6,000 years ain't nothing to do.
That's right.
It's over in a blink.
Right.
But to them, it's just getting started. They feel like it ain't been long enough. But at least they got to feel what it's like to have a flesh. That you can do some things. You see, they build planes. Build whatever they built in their time. I think the greatest thing I've seen is their planes. So and they ain't the first to build those. But what
That's right.
Spaceship.
They got the drone on the side of the wall.
Right.
Going all them caves, Arizona, the Grand Canyon. It's all drawn on machine back there.
Right.
They got the crook got his hand on the drawing and the work, and that's how he was able to start flying.
This little device we got, the flesh, it can make a plane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then the flesh is one driving it, steering it, doing everything. So this was the first, flesh was the first spaceship. This is our spaceship where we actually travel through the universe.
That's correct. Our automobile, our local,
right here.
That's right.
Mention it.
That's right.
Can we?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can leave
yeah.
this plane
Yeah.
from this
Yeah.
vessel right
Yeah,
here.
that's right.
No car ain't finna take
Don't-
you to go to no dream in the car.
That's right.
Out of this
That's
dimension
power.
and place you in a whole separate from this one.
That's some kind of power.
And then allow you to come back in it. This is how much power it got.
Goodness gracious.
And walk around and talk in it.
Look at it.
And we talking about who was the first to walk, talk, preach, and sing. It was Allah. He taught himself.
Mm-hmm.
His brain is our brain. From Allah.
That's right.
We talking about no spook, man.
That's right.
Whatever we got, he had.
Mm-hmm.
How you think we got it? Who you think had the Mandingo?
Intelligence all
Who you think had the Mandingo?
over.
It was Allah.
Yeah,
Allah got the Mandingo.
Oh, when you hear that word, some start to smile.
Yeah, I believe it right there too. I told you things were sacred. Hey, it's just things we had to learn and get to know. Or we wouldn't know how blessed we are. And so the original man was Allah, was the black man today. So Allah would be known as the Maraba, Sufiana. And now we just say the black man. But this is where it all begins. This is why we got the nature of what we got. We don't got the nature or human nation on the planet, but our. And this is the beginning they wanted to shut us off from, the beginning of Allah. Because that was knowledge of self for us. We can't know Allah until we know ourselves. So that's why the 5-point star of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice that was given to us so we can return to purity. Because divine is purity. Dark is purity. See, and this is divine order we call Maya. This is of it all. This is so much. And this is our ultra consciousness. Back in tip-top shape. We got our divine program back to change our reality to our nature of what we are. Made by nature, divine by nature. We call it mind made pure. This is how we was created. And so all the prophets that you read about, all the prophets were Moorish. All the scriptures that we read about that are divine inspiration are Moorish. All belongs to the Moorish. These are the beings who respect knowledge. Build the pyramids to show the respect.
That's right.
Build magnificent structures.
See, for the eyes of people.
Yes. To show the perfection everywhere.
Signs of intelligence, ain't it? But I see a several of I just don't see the building itself.
Not at all.
What it represents, it ain't just any old symbol. It's telling you something.
It's telling us something.
Shape and size is symbolic. It's telling you something.
Mm-hmm. It's telling us something. And that's the truth. It's telling us the truth in plain sight. In plain sight. Because in our Moorish perspective, man is the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. And so now, as clear as day, white people are jinns. This is what was not known so clearly. It's now clearly known. Because people would take jinns as spooks, just like they would take the mystery god as a spook. Like, it doesn't have any form. Like I keep mentioning, man is the greatest form. So if man exists, then everything else exists. Get these concepts from people who are these things, but they don't want us to know that these things, so they can hide in disguise. Then they need to cover themselves up. They need to cloak themselves. So they cloak themselves, have a heart. So white people act like they have a heart, act like they will help you, but they jinns in a starship suit.
Right on. I just got to say this right here since you said that. When you read the scriptures, it said that they be dressed in sheep, inwardly raven wood. And when you see all those politicians, boy, they got on the finest suit, and they looking so good and sharp and everything matching. But inside that, whatsoever inside that suit is a wolf.
Yes. Plain.
And they both can part in the Democratic Party.
Yeah. That's how they cover and disguise themselves.
Yeah.
You see, and they call jinn. That's what white people are. Elijah Muhammad told y'all they was devils.
Yeah.
K.O.S. tell you they are jinn. This is the correct name for them. I've been trying to figure out the correct name for them. Because they ain't just a pale face. They ain't just murderers and killers and bloodshedders. Those are adjectives to describe who they are. But who they actually are the jinn. Now I'm finna ask some questions from the jinn Sufa manifested. And so when we talking about jinn is not a spook spirit. It's a spirit because spirits become flesh.
That's right.
And once we understand that Allah is alone, jinns work in collective spirits. When we see any type of pale face, they can't never take one more down by themselves.
They always come in a cluster.
They always come in a collection.
Even the police come at you in a cluster.
Yes, a cluster. A collection, that stands for the collective spirits.
Look at it.
And they call the jinn. Now, in America, people call white. So we know for a fact and truthfully the nature of white people. We bred amongst them. We went to the schools. We seen their foods. We seen how they dress. We know how they smell.
That's right. Sure do. Sure do.
Okay, so
Close.
when it comes to understanding of white people being jinns, Do white people have a voice of self-doubt? Do white people have a voice that's unreasonable? They got a reason to be doing all this what they doing.
That's right.
Do the white people have a voice of self-hate?
They'll tell you.
They'll tell you. All these things. This is all a gin. Who always talk about terror, terrorizing, terrorists, terror.
Yeah.
Keeps one in a state of depression.
Yeah.
Who got first? Ain't no other place in the world go by states.
Yeah.
Except one place called
United
America.
States. I'm glad you brought that up.
The United States.
Yeah.
That's a collection. Anything collected belongs to the gin.
That's right. That's right. And to back up what you said, anytime you have a president, a vice president, and a secretary of state, you are a corporation run by somebody in a distant land. How about that?
There you go.
And because we know once upon a time it ain't always been no USA. You know that for a fact. That was established. And it ain't been long ago, may I remind everybody. And everybody that I know conquer the land, they bring their laws and everything with them. They and all and impose it on the.
We heard that. Dirty laundry. Charge them with, did they not bring their dirty laundry? These are the only people that unite themselves as states to bring about a collective spirit or a state of depression.
That's it.
All black people experience a state from these people.
Right. From everywhere we go, we can bear witness right now.
Bear witness now. He forced you to go to his school. He forced you to follow his rules. Everything that he do is out of the love of your heart. Unwanted visitations. Who we didn't call them over here. We didn't call the pilgrims over here and say, hey, y'all come over here. They just came. So now we done forgot the sports, who the home and who the guest. Then too much sports, now we done forgot who home and guest. This is all works done by the gin. Want us to have the end result of his end result.
Yeah.
Which is when you're done.
Yeah, that's what's been going on.
So they actions speak for them. We just got the truth to confirm.
Yeah.
That action was done to us. We bear witness.
That's right.
Because only people can fit the description of people. And truth gonna name them.
That's right.
And so now truth have named them, and now they never told us who the original man is. Never told us, let alone how you came. He give you a story.
I have heard as a witness. He did tell us we were slaves in our guilty floor.
There you go. See, there go the gin line. The gin getting it in. Done told us we're slaves. Don't Allah forbid slavery.
Yes, he do.
And the gins love to listen to the Quran.
So they have a beautiful recital.
Beautiful, meaning they remember they know Just like a Joel Osteen. Oh, they know the scriptures. The jinn know the scriptures.
Yes,
Now, don't think
sir.
the jinn don't know the scriptures.
Yes,
This is what they
sir.
mean. That
They
they heard
know.
a beautiful
They
song.
be planning on tricking you.
Especially a divine individual. You better know some
Yeah.
scripture.
Because if you hear somebody with scripture, then you say, well, he know what he's talking about.
Exactly. And us, it clicked in on us. Because we from there. So now when Joe Osteen and your Creflos or any of them names, see, those are the, just like the Quran said, they was gonna sin and make mischief.
Yes,
And they know the Quran better than the Muslim, which means they know the book.
Mm-hmm.
The preacher know the book better than the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he gets so much attention.
Mm-hmm.
He know the book better than the congregation.
That's right. And I'll say this here, when we was up there on Country Center on West Street, it was more than that didn't know who the gym was because we was debating about it.
See, and there you go. That
See what
show
I'm
you.
talking about?
It didn't originate from them.
See that?
We taught the Muslim, the Christian, and the Jew everything they know, including the Hindu. The Moorish man,
Yeah.
the Moorish woman,
Mm-hmm.
Moraba, Moraba.
Grateful to us.
Yes, you are a walking rabbi, a rabba. We rabba.
Mm-hmm.
Where they used our word rabba and
Yeah.
talking about them
That's
holy
right.
people.
Yeah. Man, they like
Again,
again.
yes, they taking our beautiful word and calling it upon themselves to cloak themselves.
Mm-hmm.
See, but it's over now.
Yeah.
See, we know that false got the falsehood in it.
So after the lesson today, we ought to know who's real and who's not.
Yeah.
Who's all right? The origin, the imitator.
Yes, that
Because of dark skin, my friend.
My friend. We can logically say that it's strangely mixed. Because dark means pure. And anything getting lighter and lighter, all the way to pale. Pale is the strange mixed man. And falsehood, strangely mixed. The power is back in our hands. This is our consciousness that man is off. Truth is off. All and no. This is our consciousness that the Moorish man, the Moorish woman, and the Moorish child is off. And that Allah and the Moorish man are one. That's the Maraba, the Sufian. This is how we become our original divine nature.
Like ma. You can see the connection.
If we can see the connection,
sometimes you just say
divine.
ma. That's that MA.
That's right. That's right. It'd be right there. That's it right there. So anytime. And we're going to close off with this. That naught is naught. That power is but illusion. That heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in. This is what's in us. So the sun, moon, and the stars, and heaven, earth, and hell is in self, which in the light of all becomes the naught. And Allah is all. All law.
Beautiful.
We'll close our divine meeting. Nothing else want to be said. We'll close was our divine meaning, Al-Sufian. Salam, salam, wadu, morapa.